What were some of those things that like building a community, building partnerships, all that, like that you think could be applied to any brand? Like what, like that you maybe took from VPN, you want to apply that to RAD?
Yeah. So I can talk about the CrossFit space a little bit and us building our brand in CrossFit because that's where we were birthed out of. We launched at Wadapalooza. We launched with Danielle Brandon. So like the CrossFit space is our bread and butter. But I think what a lot of companies miss is you look at CrossFit and 10 years ago, the big brands were like Reebok. They were launching their like first nanos. There's a ton of hype and excitement. And they were like actually in person in the community. And what happens is as brands get bigger and bigger, they lose sight of what got them there in the first place. And most of the times it was that community, it's those personal relationships. It's like creating true fans of the brand on a personal level who are going to support you through anything. But when you stop investing into those people, when times get tough, those people aren't there to support you and carry you through it. One of my mentors, his name's Chad. He won't take credit for this. He said that somebody told him that, but he has worked the community role at Yeti for like 11 or 12 years.
Dang.
That's a long time for a very reputable company. But early on in my career, he explained this analogy where your business is like a tree, or your personal brand or whatever you're trying to grow is this tree. And as the business gets bigger, as your personal brand gets bigger, with every new hire you have, you grow a branch, you grow a leaf, you grow part of the tree. And that tree starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, your community is the roots of that tree. And if you have no roots and you have this big tree and you go through these storms, the tree is going to fall right over. So as your brand, your personal brand grows, as it gets more branches, as it grows more leaves, you need to expand that root system to match what's out of the ground. And if you can anchor your business through that root system, when times get tough, when the storms come, your tree is going to be standing at the end of the day. And that's what I want to do at RAD, is create this root system for RAD through community, through building personal relationships, through being genuine to people and doing things for the right reasons, that if times get tough at some point, because like the storms will come, like we're going to survive that because we have the support of the community through doing things like activations, building an online community, just like meeting people where they're at and being in person.
Dude,
So
I love that.
that's my
Yeah.
methodology on community building for a brand.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Just being able to visualize that and having strong roots, because it's like, I mean, that's the foundation of especially nowadays, like any brand, especially in the fitness space too. Like the in-person things, and it's like those, like the small people, quote unquote small people, that like were there from day one. Like they want to support you, they want to be there. But if you forget about them and try and go too big and too wide, it's like you forget about those like kind of small individual people that like you said, like what got you there in the first place.
Yeah, and it's like we're in such a day and age where like when you talk about community or people wanting to be ambassadors for brands, like there's so much out there. Like people will easily just jump to the next thing or the next company
Yeah.
giving them a free product, or like, you know what I'm saying? But like, how can you like deepen that relationship where like, it doesn't have to be just giving out free products. It's like, we're a shoe company. Like I can't be handing out $150 pairs of shoes to everybody.
Yeah.
Like it, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, how can you make meaningful relationships through meaningful experiences that bring people together, that provide them experiences and connections where they couldn't get anywhere else.
How do you
And I
do
think those are
that?
important. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah.
How do you do that? Like, say somebody lives in some like small town in Montana or something, and they can't be in Austin for some big event RAD's having. How do you activate those kinds of people?
Yeah. And again, I think you're always, I don't want to say you're always like chasing more people, but it's like, you're always just like layering on experience after experience. And like, it takes time to tackle a large area of people. And like, I could work this job for 5 years for RAD or 10 years and I still won't tackle everybody. But I think it's just like having touch points with people in theory, like one person at a time. They don't always have to be in person, right? Like maybe it's having a personality on social media. Like for a brand, I think the best thing some brands can do is show the like behind the scenes, have the CEO speaking, like where they really get to know the people behind the brand, who they are, what their beliefs are, what they stand for, why they do things for it. Like, because it acts as something for like people to relate to and to support. And they're like, oh, I like this person because they believe in this. Right. Oh, they work for R.A.D. Let me check them out. Like, oh, these are 6 shoes. I'm a customer for life. Or it maybe it be as simple as like answering DMs. Or I think it's like how you interact with your online community, how personal you make things feel. I think there's this like fine line where like people want to build a community to like sell to, but they're too pushy in their sales tactics and people see right through that. And it kind of like diminishes everything you're trying to build in terms of a community. Like very much take the approach, especially with R.A.D, where like I'm going out to LA to Newport and we're going to hang out with a run club out there and do, it's called a sling and send. It's a like old school CrossFit workout where we're going to lift heavy weight and send it on a workout. But like, I am not bringing one product to sell. I literally am not bringing anything to sell anything. I am there to hang out and I'm going to buy them pizza and beer and we're going to hang out and build relationships. And like, that's the experience. But like for somebody to show up and they're like, dang, like this person's cool. They're like treating us to this like after party and food or drink. And they didn't try to sell me anything. And I really liked the person when I met them and they were really nice and they took the time to talk to me. Like, and they were with R.A.D. Let me check out what this R.A.D thing is. Like, again, I like, we're very much not going to go the style of like paying anybody X amount of thousands of dollars to slap our brand on a club to be associated with the club. Like, that's just like that's not who we are. And that's, I think it's been like, it's just been overdone, right? Like, I feel like Nike is kind of playing the like, the Pokemon gotta catch them all, where they're like trying to slap a Nike check on as many run clubs as they can right now. But I think we just want to make relationships on a deeper level, because what happens is like, cool, these people run on a Wednesday night at their run club and there's this Nike check attached to the brand, but like what happens when they go to the next run club and there's a Hoka logo? And you know what I'm saying? Like there's no affiliation or like feeling towards the brand other than they see the logo. Yeah.
Dude, that's cool. That's I can tell you spend a lot of time thinking about this stuff. I mean, it's obviously your job. Been a couple of years. But like,
been a couple of years in the making. And like, if you asked me this question 2 or 3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have had the same answer, because like it's evolved over the years.
Would you say you're like an expert in community building?
No. No, it's like you're always trying to learn. And I think even in the space, it's always evolving. And like what worked 2 years ago doesn't necessarily work now. It's the concept of like, what got you here won't get you there. You've heard that, or like you can't expect to keep doing the same thing and expect the same outcome.
Right.
So an expert, no. But like I've gotten good at like trying to figure out what the needs are and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I have like a passion to like figure out how to connect with people.
Yeah. I mean, you've spent so much time like out in different cities with different groups of people, like connecting one-on-one, that you really get to hear all these perspectives and what people truly want, and then implementing that on a wider scale. So you have definitely a unique perspective.
Yeah.
Just because you spent so much time out there doing it.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely a unique situation to be in, because I think when I think of like, okay, who else does this, especially like for other brands, like not many people probably come to mind. Like the community role is probably a newer thing in the past couple of years. I think community role, even before that, meant just like more like social media community, or they would build like Facebook groups or things like that. I think the like meeting the community where they're at type of role in all of that is definitely new. So kind of just trying to like pave my own way and figure out what works. And that's why I talk about like trial and error. Like, dude, I've hosted things that have been a flop and 10 people came. But the thing is, like, you can say it was a flop, but like you touched 10 people. But then I've also done things that have been like a Grand Slam and I've had 500 people come out to a run.
Yeah.